Greetings, everybody. It's RPG Grandma, Warriors of Mars. Now we're moving on to the Black Martians. The Black race is perhaps the single finest type upon all Barsoom. For its members are above average in both heights and musculature. They are handsome in appearance and brave beyond compare. Furthermore, their bravery is matched by their fighting ability. They claim to be the firstborn of all Barsoomian humans, and this is what they call themselves. Others, however, know them as the Black Pirates because of their propensity for raiding and plundering. They comprise about 5% of the population. The Black Martians inhabit the underground world of Omeen and the Rift in the northern part of the Western Hemisphere. Omeen is more down towards the southern pole. All right, so the Black race actually gets a good, positive talk up in the Barsoomian books. There is some cringy stuff that particularly the Omenians are doing. It does tie into the nastiness the Therns are doing in that same area. But it's a different spin. The Black race is advanced technologically. They are highly intelligent. They have some really, really interesting technology. But they also have some downsides. They are total isolationists. They, as a general rule, are not open at all to interracial marriage, if you will, and they see themselves as superior. But the Black Martians had an empire at one point. They are not presented in a way that I would consider them a caricature or a slam on actual black humans on the planet Earth either. They are they're fictional societies, and they are presented with some really, really good traits along with some not so great traits. I think they're presented better and nicer, actually, despite the bad things that their culture does or believes, better than the White Martians. The White Martians are by far the cringiest of the groups. But like the White Martians, they got a chip on the shoulder. If you want to talk about which group is most likely to be based, it's the Red Martians, because they know that they are the descendants of all these groups and that they're new. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. So the Red Martians tend to be a lot more accepting of different racial groups than what you see with the white, the black, and the yellow. These are extreme isolationists, and they have their reasons. Now, technologically, the Black Martian ships out of Omeen can fly, can travel on top of water, and can submerge and operate as a submarine. Because the Omeens are the ones doing the pirating and the plundering and the raiding, generally speaking, they tend to do that when the moons are in a certain cycle, and as a result, everybody thinks they're from the moon. It's part of their tactics. They want everybody thinking they come from the moons. So nobody comes looking for them where they really are. Now, the Black Martians and the Yellow Martians used to have two big empires in ancient history, and they had a huge battle. And the Red Martians actually think they are extinct. They have no clue there's hidden cities. And they have no clue that the Black Martians, that the few times that, when people get plundered, somebody survives, whatever, come from, they think they come from the moon. They have no idea. The few cultures that are dealing with Black Martian plundering them. So majority of Mars, the Greenman, everybody thinks the Black Martians don't exist anymore. They're extinct, in much the way they think the White Martians are extinct and the Yellow Martians are extinct. So the empires, these two empires, had a big fight, and then I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I guess it left some kind of power vacuum, and in that, it appears the White Martians became predominant at one point, at least in one area of the planet, and then of course disaster struck, and whoever was wherever, they either isolated themselves and to the point that nobody knows they're there, and they're thus relatively pure, if you will, for the racial group, or they mixed together and became the Red Martians. The clothing of the Black Martians is very much similar, if not exactly the same, as the clothing of the Red Martians. So the Red Martians appear to have inherited that aspect of Black Martian culture, because the Orvars that I talked about in the previous video, they tended to wear robes and dress differently. So that is something to keep in mind when you actually start reading the books and looking at stuff from you want to look at it from an anthropological and sociological and even archaeological standpoint. What are these people wearing? What tools are they using? How are they same and how are they different? This gives you clues on what the Red Martians in general inherited culturally from all these different groups and what they did not. And the fact is, everybody on Mars who's a guy is a fighter, but the Black Martians are completely loath to do anything but be warriors. They are a warrior society and dang proud of it. And so it seems like that aspect of the Red Martian culture is a direct inheritance from the Black Martians. And but a lot of technology was developed apparently also by the Orvars that keeps the planet functioning. So you've got different things that went into making the Red Martians culturally. So it's interesting, but yeah, they get a pretty positive talk up in the Barsoomian books about what their good points are, and they are an intelligent, highly intelligent race and knowledgeable. These are not dumb mooks at all. So that's something to keep in mind. The Omians have a living goddess. That means that they have a female Omian who is called Isis, and that is part of their culture. So everybody Google living goddess. It's actually something that actually does occur on Earth as well, except because Martians are incredibly long-lived. You know, they just keep on living with that title. So, and they do have some bad things about the cultures besides the normal Martian thing of, taking captives and having slaves and, war, and obviously pirating and plundering in their case. They've got some cringe things too. But yes, they are warriors 100%. That is their thing. But obviously, they have to have technicians and people to build things and people to keep things running, because they've got ships that are cool. They can fly in the air, go on top of water, and submerge. The Omians do. That is some good tech. Anyway, everybody have a great day, and we'll move on to Yellow Martians next.